The colonel. The yellow light flickered above, casting shadows on the slick black surface of the Lexus ES 350 and the woman standing beside it. Her wrists, bound behind her back with tight metal handcuffs, bore the indents of pressure and friction. She stood tall, not slumped or trembling, but composed-controlled. Her blouse was wrinkled at the collar. One side tugged down from what had clearly been a brief, aggressive struggle. Her eyes locked forward not in terror or confusion, but with a stillness so sharp it could cut steel. Her name was Colonel Nia Baldwin, and though the officers detaining her didn't yet realize it, they had just made the gravest mistake of their careers. Two uniformed men stood nearby. Officer Paul Langley, a stout, red-faced veteran with 20 years on the force and a belly hanging heavy beneath his vest, leaned against the patrol car with arms crossed and smugness thick in his voice. "Told you not to be difficult, ma'am," he said, the word ma'am steeped in mockery. "Now just stand still." Lady Driver. Beside him, Officer Bryce Carver, a younger cop with a buzz cut and an air of superiority, circled the Lexus like a vulture, peering through the windows with an exaggerated sneer. "Wonder what kind of trash is in here. Probably stolen or filled with filth." Nia said nothing at first. She breathed deeply, the cool autumn air brushing the wetness of damp leaves and urban exhaust against her skin. Then, without raising her voice, she spoke. "What you're doing is unlawful," she said, her tone flat, steady. "You had no reason to stop me, no right to search my vehicle, and even less cause to handcuff me." Langley laughed. It was an ugly sound. He stepped closer, crouching to meet her gaze, his breath reeking of cheap cigarettes. "Where I patrol, I decide what's suspicious," he said. "You, in this neighborhood, in that car? You don't belong. That's all the reason I need." Behind him, Carver stepped in, closing the gap with a sick smile. "Who do you think you are?" he mocked. "Demanding names and numbers like you're somebody." "I'm within my rights to ask," Nia replied calmly. "And I'm invoking my right to a phone call." Langley sneered. "Sure thing. Call your public defender. Or maybe your mama." He barked out a laugh. "Or your sugar daddy." But nothing in Nia's demeanor changed. Her calm, her refusal to beg, her refusal to cower, it rattled them. They weren't used to a black woman standing straight-backed and defiant while cuffed. 10 minutes earlier, none of this had happened. Nia had been driving east on Jefferson Boulevard, a shortcut she'd taken since her teenage years. After months stationed at Fort Brantley in Virginia, she had finally taken a long-overdue leave to visit her aging mother in the old neighborhood. She hadn't been speeding, hadn't swerved, hadn't violated a single traffic law. But to Langley and Carver, sitting in their patrol cruiser on the side of the street, her mere presence was offense enough. "See that?" Langley had said, gesturing toward the Lexus. "Lexus. Brand new. And look who's behind the wheel." "Probably some drug mule," Carver said, eyes narrowing. "A black woman in that car on this street? Definitely doesn't belong." Langley's lips curled. "Flip the lights." Carver hit the switch. The red and blue lit up the street. Inside the Lexus, Nia glanced in her mirror, sighed quietly, and pulled over. She turned off the engine and lowered the window halfway, her training kicking in calm, measured movements. Langley didn't bother with protocol. He knocked hard on the glass with his knuckles. "Step out," he barked. Nia frowned. "Have I done something wrong, officer?" "Out of the car," he repeated, his hand already hovering near his holster. "Don't ask questions. Show me your papers." She calmly reached across the seat for her purse. Before she could retrieve anything, Langley yanked open the car door. "Hurry it up," he barked. "What are you doing in this neighborhood anyway? What business you got here in a car like this?" Behind her, Carver had exited the cruiser and taken up position at the rear of the Lexus, arms folded across his vest, the same smug grin on his face. Nia stepped out composed. She retrieved her driver's license and vehicle registration and offered them wordlessly. Langley snatched them from her hand. His eyes skimmed the name, Nia Baldwin. Address P.O. Box, Fort Brantley, Virginia. He raised an eyebrow but said nothing about it. Her military affiliation meant nothing to him. "Fort Brantley?" he sneered. "That's a hike. You drive all the way up here just for a family visit." "I'm on leave," Nia replied. "My mother lives nearby. This car is mine, registered and insured. Now I'd like to know why I was pulled over." Her clear, even tone seemed to infuriate them. They wanted nervous. They wanted submissive. They got neither. You military folks ain't saints, Carver muttered. Could be you're smuggling something. This car looks clean. Probably why we should check it extra careful. You have no probable cause, Nia said. Langley leaned it again, this time softer, almost conspiratorial. Look, Officer Baldwin. Colonel, whatever. Let's just call this a misunderstanding. You don't want paperwork. I don't want paperwork. You hand over a small cash penalty, say $800, and we let it go. No report. Clean break. You're trying to extort me, she said, staring him dead in the eye. That's a federal offense. I'm not paying you a cent. Langley's expression twisted. You still got mouth? He snapped. She's resisting, Carver added quickly. Cuff her. Without warning, Carver lunged. Nia turned to avoid him, but Langley grabbed her shoulders. In seconds, her arms were wrenched behind her and cold steel bit into her wrists. The pain was sharp, but the humiliation sharper. They had no idea who she was. Yet, as Carver rifled through her purse, tossing her wallet and keys onto the patrol car hood, Nia took another deep breath. I want to make a phone call, she said. Langley scoffed. Who are you going to call? Oprah. I'm within my rights. Langley shrugged. Let her call. Could be funny. Carver held the phone to her ear. With a calm, commanding voice, she spoke. This is Colonel Nia Baldwin, service number November Bravo 2946317. I am requesting immediate escalation and contact with the National Military Command Center Pentagon. Langley blinked. Carver paled. I am currently detained without cause by Officers Paul Langley and Bryce Carver of Oakwood Police, badge numbers OC 1193 and OC 1528, she continued. Location, Jefferson and 12th. I am invoking Broken Arrow Protocol. The words echoed across the quiet street. Langley staggered backward. Carver dropped the flashlight from his hand. Two things, she said. Broken Arrow, Carver whispered. Langley's lips barely moved. We're screwed. Nia said nothing else. She didn't have to. The storm had begun. Minutes later, Langley's shoulder radio crackled violently. Car 12, confirm your status with Colonel Baldwin. Do not take further action. Command is en route. Repeat, do not move. The two officers stood frozen. Then came the vehicles. 3 of them, 2 patrol cars and 1 unmarked black sedan. Out stepped Chief Harold Mendez, grim-faced and tight-jawed. He didn't even glance at Langley or Carver as he made a direct path to Nia. Colonel Baldwin, he said, his voice taut. I'm Chief Mendez. On behalf of the Oakwood Police Department, I sincerely apologize. This should never have happened. He nodded to the lieutenant beside him. Remove the cuffs. The moment the metal clicked open, Nia rubbed her wrists and finally spoke. I want every second of this night documented, she said. It already is, the chief replied. And the federal investigation is underway. Langley and Carver were ordered to surrender their weapons and badges. They did so silently, faces gray and drained, before being escorted away like the criminals they were. But this wasn't over. The next morning, federal agents from the FBI and the Army CID descended on the Oakwood precinct. The investigation moved swiftly, spurred on by the seriousness of the offenses and the high profile of the victim. Nia gave a full, precise testimony. Her clarity, her rank, and her training made her account airtight. The body cam footage, while tampered with, still held enough damning material. Aggressive language, illegal search, excessive force. More surfaced. Complaints from other civilians. Records of unusual cash deposits into Langley's accounts. Picture formita, dirty picture. One painted with abuse, racism, and power unchecked. The federal case came together quickly. The charges: civil rights violations, unlawful detention, and attempted extortion under color of law. When the trial came, the courtroom was packed. Nia took the stand in full military dress. No fanfare. No tears. Just facts, delivered with poise and authority. The defense crumbled. The jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict. 7 years in federal prison for each. Langley and Carver didn't look so smug anymore as they were led away in chains. The story gripped the nation. Not just because it was outrageous, but because justice had been swift and clear. The Oakwood Police Department faced a reckoning. Chief Mendez resigned. Oversight committees were formed. Bias training, civilian review boards, body cam enforcement all fast-tracked. As for Nia Baldwin, she returned quietly to Fort Brantley. Declined interviews. She issued only one statement. This incident does not define law enforcement as a whole. I remain proud to serve and I believe we can build a more just and accountable system together. She resumed her command and added a new mission to her service mentoring. She became a quiet force for change within the Army and the nation, teaching others how to face adversity with strength, composure, and an unwavering sense of self. Because dignity, after all, doesn't come from a badge. It comes from character. And Colonel Nia Baldwin had plenty of that.